Next News, breaking news.
This is not about some juvenile prank call. This is about what happens when political hatred crosses the line into tactics that can get Americans killed. Sitting U.S. Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett was reportedly targeted by a swatting call claiming gunshots at her home. A lie seemingly designed to trigger an armed police rush to her doorstep. And if you think this was an isolated episode, think again, because another conservative figure, Erica Kirk, was also allegedly threatened ahead of a Turning Point USA event. So ask yourself, are we still talking about activism? Or are we dealing with organized political intimidation? And here's why this matters so much. When a false 911 caller says there are gunshots at the home of a sitting Supreme Court justice, that's not comedy. It's not the internet trolling. That's an attempt to unleash armed force through deception. Officers arrive with incomplete information, emotions are high, and one wrong move can turn into tragedy in seconds. That's why so many Americans now see swatting for what it is, violence by proxy. And the target here was not random. Amy Coney Barrett is one of the 9 justices on the highest court in the land. If judges can be personally targeted after rulings the left hates, then the question becomes bigger than one family's safety. It becomes whether institutions can function when intimidation enters private homes. Add in the threat against Erica Kirk ahead of a TPUSA event, and a pattern emerges. Conservatives are increasingly being targeted not just for what they say, but for daring to show up, to speak, and to serve. Before we go further, in times this stressful, taking care of your body, it matters too, because constant tension takes a real toll. See, you've probably seen the clip of Joe Rogan with Mel Gibson talking about people close to them who went through serious health struggles and then saw dramatic turnarounds. Rogan brings up light-based therapies and how they affect the body at a cellular level. Gibson says it plainly, the stuff works. See, that got my attention in my own life. You see, I saw something similar when my wife dealt with constant discomfort and anxiety. And that's why I mention and talk about red light therapy. It really works. See, Jonathan Otto has put together resources. I'll explain why so many people are turning to it for support in daily wellness and recovery. The stuff does work. Me, my wife, we are walking proof. If you want to learn more, go to myredlight.com and make sure you use code NNN25 for individual items and NNN30 for bundles. That's myredlight.com. Now back to a story that shows exactly how toxic and dangerous our politics have become. See, what makes this even worse is not just that Barrett was targeted, but how little corporate media seemed to care. ABC reportedly gave the story just seconds, while CBS and NBC gave it nothing at all. Think about that. A sitting conservative justice gets swatted with a fake gunfire report, and major networks barely blink. That selective outrage is part of the reason so many Americans no longer trust in the legacy media. In a moment, I'm going to present the tweets, the clips that tell the story themselves, and they point to something far darker than just one call on one dark night. Another assassination attempt against a sitting conservative U.S. Supreme Court. Someone called 911. This is leftist terrorism, says Nick Sortor. Listen.
Intentional units responding to these suspicious noises. There is an LOI for this address that has 24-hour security coverage for a high-priority resident of the county. Units responding to suspicious noise. Be advised, we have not been able to get an answer on callback to the complainant's phone number. And then if it's going to be a swatting situation or not. Or 2111.
Make contact with security that's on scene. They should be outside and explore. He said he hasn't heard anything. We're just going to meet up with him first just to go over anything.
So that's all we get due to the guidelines on swatting incidents. But that is the dispatch. Made it clear police were already worried it could be swatting. So She notably signed on to the ruling against racial gerrymandering, which harms Democrats. Swatting equals attempted murder in the audio. Units responding to suspicious noise unknown if it's going to be a swatting situation. Whoever made the call committed an act of terrorism. So Barrett becomes the latest target after a ruling that hurt Democrats. Meanwhile, in Texas, threats go from a fake 911 call to alleged bomb threat, with a San Antonio man arrested over messages targeting Erica Kirk at a Turning Point event. Listen to this.
A San Antonio man was arrested today after he was accused of threatening to kill Erica Kirk ahead of a planned appearance at a Turning Point USA event. 26-year-old Jacob Winsky faces 2 felony charges of making a terroristic threat causing public fear. Investigators say he replied to a social media post about a Turning Point event by writing, "I know exactly where to bomb," and a message from an email registered to an account to Winsky allegedly stated, "Death to Erica Kirk and every single speaker there." Certainly a disturbing case.
So it wasn't vague online trash talk. Investigators say a suspect named Erica Kirk talked about the bombing event. Now watch the corporate press, how they treat Barrett's swatting. ABC gave it seconds, while CBS and NBC said nothing at all. Bias by omission. The swatting of Justice Amy Coney Barrett draws a pitiful 16 seconds on ABC World News, 0 on CBS or NBC.
Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett becoming the latest high-profile target of a swatting incident. Authorities say a false emergency call sent police rushing to her home. It's just the latest in a growing wave of hoax threats targeting public officials. The incident is now under investigation.
That's all they got. 16 seconds. 16 seconds. Everybody else just ignored it. Will Kane did mention it.
Fox News alert. Last night at around 9 p.m., officers responded to a swatting call at the home of Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett. Officers coordinated with Coney Barrett's security and quickly determined that the report was fake. Many of the justices now have 24-hour security detail. The court has yet to weigh in formally, and no mention from Justice Coney Barrett herself either when she was on the bench this morning.
So Will Kane walking through the timeline from the fake gunfire report to the officers coordinating. One America News adds the piece the networks won't touch.
The D.C. home of Justice Amy Coney Barrett is reportedly the target of a swatting call. Police responded to reports of gunfire at the home Wednesday night. Officers spoke with security at the residence and quickly learned the call was a false report. Barrett's home has been the site of protests by pro-abortion advocates in the past. Senator Mike Lee weighed in on the report, saying swatting is an attempt to get an innocent person killed, in this case, a sitting Supreme Court justice. He suggests a proper response will be putting the offender in prison for many years.
So we have more on the Erica Kirk threat.
Breaking moments ago, a man reportedly accused of threatening to kill Erica Kirk. He is under arrest in Texas, according to local media. Police reportedly saying he posted about a bombing at a Turning Point USA event where Kirk is scheduled to speak next week. TPUSA says the event will go on. Senior correspondent Alicia Cunha live in Denver. Hi, Alicia.
Hi, Martha. And this threat not only targeted Erica Kirk, but Turning Point USA events across the board. News stations in Texas report Jacob Winsky of San Antonio was arrested earlier today and now faces 2 felony counts for making terrorist threats against Erica Kirk and TPUSA's upcoming women's leadership event in that city. According to local reports, San Antonio police were alerted to Winsky after he allegedly commented on social media, quote, "I know exactly where to bomb." Investigators, according to reporting, say he also wrote in an email, quote, "Death to Erica Kirk and every single speaker there. America will live on without those scum of this earth." every Christian nationalist shall perish in the bombing that will take place at every single Turning Point rally and event. TPUSA responded to the arrest on X, saying the organization takes all threats seriously and is working with law enforcement, adding, quote, "We are grateful to the San Antonio Police Department and the FBI for their rapid response and arrest of the individual making these threats. We refuse to let threats silence us. We look forward to a successful and inspiring gathering." Erica Kirk, her family, and the organization she now runs have been under near constant hostility by critics ever since Charlie was assassinated in September. Charlie Kirk's accused killer, Tyler Robinson, is scheduled for his preliminary hearing in early July. Erica Kirk has been pushing for maximum transparency with the public in that case. As for the San Antonio suspect, his next court appearance is set for August. Martha?
And I'll add that Candace Owens isn't helping the situation one bit. So this is the real point. America is moving into a period where political conflicts no longer staying in debate halls, court briefs, or campaign ads. It's moving to front doors, family homes, and public events. The swatting attack on Amy Coney Barrett and terror threats against Erica Kirk are connected by the same goal: create fear, force retreat, and make conservatives think twice before serving, speaking, or standing firm. That's intimidation, plain and simple. And when the media minimize it because the targets are on the right, they do not calm the country down, they help normalize the behavior. If this continues, the danger is not just to individuals, the danger is to the ability of our institutions to operate without coercion. But the good news is this: Americans are waking up. Under President Trump, law and order is back at the center of national leadership. And there is zero excuse for treating swatting, bomb threats, or assassination talk like background noise. Whoever targeted Justice Barrett should be found and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Whoever threatened Erica Kirk is now facing charges, and that is exactly what should happen when terror tactics are aimed at conservatives. This country cannot function if judges, activists, and speakers have to wonder whether a ruling, a speech, or a post will bring armed chaos to their homes or events. We do not surrender to fear, and we do not let left-wing intimidation become normal. If you agree, share this report everywhere, subscribe to the Next News Network, and sound off in the comments yes or no. Should swatting a public official be prosecuted like attempted murder? I want to hear from you. I also want you to text the words raw feed to that number you see right there on your screen. Take a look, 844-840-4963. That's how you and I stay connected when the algorithm has other plans. And since we are in our 250th year of our great republic, let's celebrate together. I want to celebrate with you. Check out some of our new gear in the merch shelf below this video.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.